I'm here with Ravi Manchi from Westwater Corp. Ravi, you were just speaking on a panel about grid computing. Can you tell us a bit about that, please?
Sure. The panel discussion that we just had about was on grid computing. What are the benefits? What is the future? And where is it going? How are firms and how is the industry in general, embracing the grid computing and how they are leveraging basically? And I think we had a good turnout. There are a lot of interest in the audience, and the panel discussion I think was covered quite a bit of range of topics. We covered about compliance, risk management, and in general investments, how firms are making or firms are not making, and how important it is for institutions to realize that data and information is so important with the recent mergers and acquisitions and recent activities that's happening. Some of the malfeasance on Wall Street firms and globally as well as within the US, how firms need to address, and more institutions are going to look at data, information, and computing going forward, basically.
In your opinion, are Wall Street firms still building out their grids? Is grid still a hot topic for Wall Street firms?
They are building grids, but one of the points that I made at the panel discussion was I think there needs to be some more uniformity and there's some more information sharing, because I think unfortunately or fortunately, financial service industry is one of the verticals that does not come together when it needs to do something together. And from what we observe, from our vantage point, what we see is firms are doing things not necessarily in a cohesive approach, but it is they're investing and not leveraging certain aspects of it. And there's some data or information that is common to every institution. So I think institutions should look at firms should be looking at leveraging and sharing more information on a grid, basically.
And just to clarify for me, what is the difference between a grid and cloud computing?
I'll be very frank. I'm not one of the best technologists out there, but I think the cloud is it's almost like the next generation of grid. What we've been seeing around, with the rising of the distributed systems and rising of grid computing, where you're actually putting your information, your data elsewhere. In the cloud, it is leveraging the network as a feature, and more and more it is becoming almost like you don't need to know necessarily where your information is, how it is being stacked, and where it is residing. So that's the future, I'm sure.
Okay. And what for you have been the main takeaways from the conference today?
I think it's one of the well-attended conferences, and in times like what financial industry is going through, I think Waters is doing a great job of putting conferences like this, because technology is going to differentiate firms, whether they're doing right or wrong, and whether who's going to sustain and who's not going to sustain in this model, because information is ever increasing, and compliance is going to increase. And I think a conference like this on topics such as high performance computing, which is all about Wall Street and financial services being a data centric industry, I think it's extremely important to bring in people, both the practitioners as well as thought leaders, and have a chat like this in a both formal informal combination is a very classic way of information share.
Okay, and you're with Westwater Corp, is that correct?
That's right.
Sorry, can you just sort of very briefly just tell us what you do at Westwater Corp, or what Westwater Corp does?
Sure. I'm actually the president of Westwater Corp. We are a management technology consulting firm. We provide strategic advisory services for financial firms, both on the business side as well as technology side. And some of our clients include large institutions, both on the sell side, buy side, exchanges, and hedge funds and fund of funds type institutions are our clients, and almost all of them grapple with technology issues, or they want to get into new business lines, and they're unsure a lot of times how do they stack their investments, how to leverage their investments, and where do they invest actually. So that's where we spend time in advising and keeping them honest and managing some of the initiatives.
Okay, thank you very much, Ravi Manchi.